Inspire inclusion. What does inspire inclusion mean? Well, I believe this year's theme is a call to action. It isn't learn inclusion or teach inclusion. It is inspire inclusion. Inspire means to fill someone with the urge or ability to do or feel something, especially to do something creative. How best can one inspire? How can we inspire you, the audience here, to make inclusion? When women aren't present, ask, if not, why not? Become an advocate for your colleagues and peers. Hello and welcome. I'm Emily Sorensen, the Business Development Executive for Southern Alberta. As the host of this year's Women's Day event, I will help introduce our panelists, ask some questions, and lead some interesting discussions. As mentioned, our topic is Inspire Inclusion. Why is this important to you, your organization, or your family? Besides it being about equal rights or opportunities, or forget the fact that this has been a topic for many years, or that it's just plain nice to see representation, well, it's better for business. Organizations in the top quartile for gender diversity have a 25% more likelihood of financially outperforming their peers. Inclusive teams are over 35% more productive. Diverse teams make better decisions 87% of the time. I like those stats. Let me introduce my panel today. First, we have Farah Jahed. Hello, Farah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Farah Jahed. My story started since I moved to Canada 30 years ago as a computer engineer, mom of two boys, and wife of my husband. I started having a good job with IBM at the same year. But I was always thinking to have more time for my family and for my kids, especially that I was alone here for raising them, no help, nobody. And with considering the project that I had at that time, the financial industry was very appealing to me. And I always was thinking about a move and have more free time. So that's how I ended up with working in financial industry since 2008. Anyway, it's a long journey and long story and tough decision for me, but I'm so happy that I did it. And I'm hoping that my challenges and my story inspires everybody who is listening to us today.
We're happy you did it too, Farah. Let me introduce Melanie Russo.
Good afternoon, everybody. So nice to be here. And we started Money Mama. I'm the founder of Money Mama. We started in 2020 after a very challenging event in my personal life, which inspired me to help other women find empowerment in finding their financial path. We specialize in financial planning for children, again, from my own experience, and we're super excited to be here and share our experiences. So thank you, Emily.
Welcome, Melanie. Okay, let's move over to Kit Espiritu Jyoti.
Hi, it's good morning from Vancouver and good afternoon from wherever you are. So I'm Kit Espiritu Jyoti. I'm the president of Espiritu Financial, and we're located here in Surrey, BC. I am a proud Filipina, born in Manila, Philippines, an AB psychology graduate from Ateneo University. It's a school run by Jesuit priests. Right after college, unlike all my classmates who jumped into the corporate world, I decided to join my father, who used to own an insurance agency. So at an early age of 21, I was already selling insurance and learning the ropes of the business. But in 1997, I made that bold decision to leave everything behind and immigrate here in Canada with my 4 young daughters. And I joined the insurance industry again, the financial service industry again, because that's the only thing I really knew what to do. And I brought to the Canadian community the skills and the knowledge that my father has passed on to me, particularly on agency building. So I hope that today I could add value to the forum by sharing with you a few of the many lessons I've learned from the decisions and choices I made in my life. So it's been 24 years here.
Wonderful. Thank you. Let's move on to Amy Deacon. Welcome, Amy.
Hi, so happy to be here with you guys today. As you know, my name is Amy, and I'm the founder of Toronto Wellness Counseling. And so this is an all-inclusive mental health clinic, and we know that mental health and the struggle to balance things as working moms and women can be a lot. And so I'm excited to be here today and have a conversation about, how do you develop yourself professionally while also taking care of yourself personally, right? With this sort of working idea or theory that we can only be of service to others and provide quality if we ourselves are running on quality energy.
Yeah,
That's great. That leads us to our first question on the panel. Paying ourselves first, but sometimes we are the last to eat. It is a balance between taking ourselves seriously in our business and respecting our efforts in our lives. How did you give yourself grace?
I'm someone, I guess, who likes to learn the hard way. So if I can inspire you to do the opposite today, it would be amazing. But through my second separation, was empty on energy, empty on physical health, and empty on financial health as well. And so I started putting myself first. I'm a mom of two, and my daughter at the time was 15 months old, and my son was 7. And this was really a golden nugget that I received because it made me start asking for help, which I find personally as women, we want to do it all. We have some kind of pride to kind of, we're the super mom, we're the business owner, we can do it all, yet we're running on empty energy. Most of the time we're outpouring something that we don't have. And so therefore life gave me no choice but to start pouring and asking for help. So if I may leave you guys with that little nugget of information, is that it's okay to ask for help. Most people that I ask help were so happy that I ask. And we, as women, you have a feeling, and when you help someone, how it makes you feel so happy to be able to give something to someone. And yet we're hesitating to give that feeling to somebody else. So if I can give that feeling, is like when we ask for help, people most of the time are very happy to help, and pouring into yourself and without any guilt. That's key.
yeah,
Is right. That's the guilt that as mother we have is so intense. But yet, once you start rebuilding yourself up financially, emotionally, physically, then not only you're a better mom, you're a better entrepreneur, you're a better friend, right? So we can really, give so much more.
sure.
Can I add 2 things that come up? So
Yeah.
the first is that the idea that you know how to give yourself grace. I think that grace is a hard lesson, and you typically don't learn it until you're on the other side of burnout, right? Like,
No kidding.
right? Like you don't know peace unless you know suffering. You don't know good unless you know bad. You don't know joy unless you know pain and hurt, right? So I think that grace is something that sounds so beautiful on paper, and yet the reality is that in practice, you often don't get there until you've been through the hardships, right? So I think that very similar to what Melanie was sharing, I learned grace, like, I don't know, it feels like 2 seconds ago, when you know what it's like to burn out and you realize that you can't afford to mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, financially. And so it's a slow muscle that you slowly develop in terms of, okay, I'm going to prioritize going for a walk on my lunch. I'm going to prioritize, shutting down my computer and not checking emails past, 9 o'clock. It's just these little things that you do. But, Melanie, the other comment about guilt, and because I think it's something that so many people struggle with. We feel, whether we guilty for not being accessible 24/7 to clients or to friends or to family or to children. And I had said this in preparation, but I think that the way that it's been helpful for me to cope with guilt by just remembering that it's an indication that I care, right? Like it's an indication that I care about my clients, I care about my kids, I care about, you know, whoever it is or whatever it is that's going on. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I always have to act on it. You still have to check yourself. You still have to check your energy, your bandwidth to see if you have the capacity to take care of all the things that are in front of you. And that's where the grace comes in.
Absolutely agree with you, Amy. And, you know, the thing is also you start, you know, booking your time in your schedule to say, you know what, like for me, for instance, my workout is a non-negotiable. Like it has, like a bomb needs to drop for me to move my workout because it's good for my mental health. And therefore, you know, and my client knows that. You know, like it's setting boundaries as well to say, like, you know, like you said, Amy, like after 6 o'clock or 9 o'clock, whatever time, I am not reachable in that time. This is my family time. And, you know, clients, they have no problem. It's all about, you know, the boundaries and the way that you express and communicate. And they're like, okay, no problem. Like I'm a solo mom. So they know that from 6 to 8, it's with my children.
Yeah,
And
that's
they
a great
respect
point.
that.
That's a great point, because the fact is that boundaries are healthy, but the communication behind them is the important part. As long if your boundaries are communicated, then they can be effective. The problem is when your boundaries aren't communicated, right? And we're not sure.
And sometimes we have a challenging time because it's our mindset. Again, the guilt, right? I should take 20 appointments a day, right? And yes, and therefore that way, like again, I've never had a client say, oh no, but like you should forget about your kids and just meet me at this moment. No, never. Right. So, and they actually like the fact that they say, but they know also if it's urgent, send me a text. You know, it's not like I completely disconnect it. Like if it's urgent, but most of the time, important, not urgent all the time.
Yeah,
Those are
right.
two different things.
I totally agree. It's not about boundaries, it's about balancing our life as well. Because as a mom and woman, this guilt is always with us because we always, everybody else comes first, right? But after certain age or after some experiences, we found this wisdom that we are important as well. It's not guilt. So it's so important that we balance our life, balance our time, and have some times for ourselves. Like me, I have appointment with myself every Monday night, every Wednesday night. It's been going on for years. And that time is my own time. It's my peace, is everything for me. And now I don't feel guilt if somebody wants to meet me on Wednesday and I say, no, I'm sorry, I have an appointment. I have another appointment, which is very important, and I cannot cancel it. And nothing happens. In the beginning, you think that something happens, you lose people, or they disrespect you, or they feel disrespected. But no, even if sometimes I say, you know what, I go for yoga and I need to do this every Monday and every Wednesday. And they respect it and they love it because in the other times, you're always there for them. You're servicing them in the best way that you can. So it's going to be your lifestyle. And then you get used to it and you feel much better about your life and yourself.
Yeah, to add on, you know, there's this powerful saying that you cannot give what you do not have. And I think that's so important for us to always remember, especially for us women here in the sales, you know, in sales. Like we have to do so much. We want to bring money and income to the table and to the family, but at the same time, we have to do so much. You know, there's so much demand. So if we don't really pause, like what you guys are saying, and love ourselves first, how can we really be able to love others and help others, help our clients? There's so many things we need to do. And I think one of the things that I just want to share is that how do you love yourself? I think it's really, for me, just finding what you really enjoy doing. Like for you, it's yoga. I do meditation a lot. I bake a lot. Not that I'm a great baker, but I just bake. That's my outlet, you know, and it's really finding that special thing. And we're all unique in our own special ways. Just find that thing that you love to do. And again, not being guilty and not feeling guilty about it, right? Not
Exactly.
feeling guilty about it.
Yeah, definitely. I have a few takeaways from this. One being scheduling, right?
Oh,
That's a
yes.
good takeaway is that, if you're going to do this, make it important enough that it goes into your schedule. And so, if you work on your computer all day and you are not happy because you haven't seen daylight and you haven't gotten fresh air and you haven't communicated with anyone in person, maybe schedule in that walk in the day outside and get some fresh air or whatever it is that will help your mental capacity for the rest of the day, because your day doesn't end when your work day ends, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And so it's an important reminder that, sometimes you're kind of just starting your day after your work day ends. So it's important to be at your best self, or try at least to be at your best self.
But I think, just to add, but I think also to normalize that we're not cheerleaders that are constantly full of energy, and like there's gonna be bad moments. You're like,
Oh, yeah.
it's almost like normalize bad days where we don't have to psychoanalyze ourselves. This is coming from a therapist. We don't have to psychoanalyze yourself. And it's like, I don't know, super anxious or super depressed. Normalize being off. And I think a really great practice of self-love, because I know that can be a really strong term for some people. They're thinking, gosh, I'm struggling to like myself, let alone love. But it's to understand that there's different seasons, right? There's going to be seasons where, Melanie, I'm sure all of you guys have experiences where you've got to hustle. And you probably got to take that call between 6 and 8 p.m. And then there's times where you're coasting a little bit and you can be a little bit more firm with those boundaries, or times that your health is really demanding a lot of your time and attention. So just knowing that there's a real flow to life and there's a season, and to not get caught up in what somebody else's season is looking like, but to really stay true to your own and give yourself what you need.
Oh my gosh, yes, I can relate to that for sure. And also, I actually book my personal time first, then I schedule everything else. Well, my kids first, perhaps, maybe their activity, okay, to be fully honest. And then that's my time that I schedule. And then I put everything else in between, because you get to choose your own schedule. That's why you got in the business in the first place.
Right.
Yet when we start in the business, it's completely opposite, like Farah was saying, right? I don't want to lose a client if I don't say yes when the third time. But I found that client actually respects you way more when you say, no, you know what, I'm busy this time, but I have this time or that time. Give them two options, so then they get to choose, and then you let them know if those two options don't work. Maybe if you choose to do that, maybe I can reschedule another appointment to make it work, knowing that the client's going on vacation or whatever be. You are in the driver's seat to say, and then you're not going to become resentful of your schedule, because at one point I was becoming really resentful, and I was losing my passion for what I was doing because I felt pulled from every angle. And I'm like, this is not fun. Like, I thought that entrepreneurship was like, I got a flexible schedule. I'm with my kids whenever I want to. And then reality hit, and I'm like, hit hard. And I'm like, oh boy, like I am burned out because I'm working 16 hours a day. I'm on the phone all the time. I'm working weekends. I'm getting up at 5 a.m. to finish admin stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, how do people do this? So yeah, it's just a little shift in mindset, I think.
And choices.
Yeah, it's mindset and choice. Yeah. When we are young in the business, actually, we want to be the best just in the business. But when we get a little bit experience and have wisdom and see experienced, actually, I met so many experienced advisors in different events. And I was asking them, how many hours you work a day? And some of them, I'm working 3 days a week, and I'm from 10 to 4. So I said, okay, so I should be able to do this, right? And it happened, and I made it.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy now.
And that leads us to our next question, a little bit contrasting here. I wanted to touch on Swifties. I don't plan on talking too much about Taylor Swift, but I am fascinated by her followers and the support it brings. Have you found that cultivating a network of people around you has helped you grow your business? I know you guys are discussing how you got into this industry to be independent, but how have you utilized a group or a community around you to further your career or to help you with your personal life? What are the benefits of doing such?
So many. I'm like, do I start?
Yeah, go
Well,
ahead. Yeah, definitely.
Personally, for me, again, through my experiences, I've been financially independent since I'm 16. So I've been on my own for a very long time. And it was not in my nature to ask for help or ask my community. In fact, I don't do that yet. As I mentioned before, my last event, a very challenging separation, got me to realizing, and that's why I hope for you guys that's listening, there's such a powerful and meaningful, and we have that expression, right? You want to do it alone. You want to go fast, do it alone. You want to go far, do it together, right? That's the expression, I think. And I resonate with that so much because since my second separation, I expanded my thinking in connecting more. I've always been a really good connector. I love connecting with people, but it was more in a way, how can I help them all the time? And building relationship with other professionals now that I focus only solely on financial planning for children versus doing everything all at once really made me realize that not only it's way more fun because you get to still learn from other professionals, you get to put in front of your client on the professional side amazing people who also are super knowledgeable in one area, so they're getting the best. And on the personal side, it also releases the load. We all carry so much that it's nice to know, if you don't have your parents around, like I don't, right? It's nice to see that your friends and sometimes pure strangers will lead a helping hand, or will give you a piece of advice, or will lay a stone for you to step forward and move forward. And it's just today before this call, I had an amazing meeting with something that I've been hoping for Money Mama for a very long time. I've been in business for 16 years, created Money Mama only in 2020. But after I hang up the call, I was like, oh my gosh, like I planted the seed. It took only 16 years. Not that it's going to take you that long, but it's now that I'm more open. As of before, I was open to helping others, but receiving was not, it was counterintuitive for me. So
That's
being
great.
open.
Yeah. And you said earlier that, using your community around you really helped you. It was part of your giving grace, right? Giving yourself
Yes.
grace, to giving up some of that control too, right?
Yeah, because it's okay. It's okay to delegate.
Mhm.
Right? Because again, everybody wins. Everybody wins when you delegate because they also want to be there. Or if you're having, like, I don't have employee, but you guys do, ladies, right? And that's another thing. You get to do it together.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, for me, actually, I was so lucky because I'm coming from an ethnic community, right? I'm Persian, I'm Iranian Canadian. So, and it was a luck because being in a smaller group of people, which we have so many um, uh, professional association, which they always invite me for seminars or being there, or they have, some kind of gatherings like small galas. So being with people and connecting with them and, getting close to know how they think and who they are, helped me a lot in growing my business. Personally, I think I learned a lot from being connected with those different association, different type of people, um, and getting idea what they need and what they know and how I can help them. That was my fortune in my own small community, which is anyway, it's a big community now, and I'm so grateful for being part of it.
So in my case, in my agency, we actually have the slogan for the year, and it's strength in unity. I don't really have to go out of my agency. I'm just so blessed with with a management team, agents, brokers, and leaders who are just so talented and unique in their own way. So, and we acknowledge that. And I think for me, it's really having the humility to accept that you don't know everything. And, you know, especially in this field, I've been in the business for what, 40 more years. And I just feel like there's so much I still need to learn. And it's that humility of really accepting, you know, there are people better than you, more knowledgeable, more talented, and that is okay. And by be feeling okay about that, that's how you grow faster. You know, that's really how you grow faster.
Yeah, especially we have many talented and experienced and knowledgeable older advisors within IDC that they are always there to help.
Yeah, yeah.
They're always there to help. So it's okay if you don't know and go to them and ask them. Sometimes we can collaborate together to go forward for a nice case, which is both of us will gonna benefit. So
Yeah.
it's always good to ask if you don't know something. We shouldn't be shy of asking and getting professional helps from people who are around us.
Great. Mentorship comes to mind. Mentorship, when I started in the industry, I was very, very blessed. I was doing group benefits, and I had two mentors, one that had 35-year experience, the other one 25 plus. And it just propelled me to be quickly. The first year before I actually had my mentor was not very quick. But when I got to learn and pick their brain, this, in my opinion, is even better than school. Like to get mentorship of someone who's been there, done that, who knows and have experience. I wish we can just like transfer the information right on. Here's all the experiences, all the things you need to know. Granted, it's the beautiful part too is to discover your own authenticity in your industry and finding your own ways with the information that you're receiving from your mentor. But mentorship is like the best.
Yeah, and I wonder what the correlation is between success and mentorship. You know, I think probably if we were to get a discussion here about who's had a mentor in the early parts of their career or coming into this industry and, you know, what that meant to you, I think you're right. It's a huge benefit.
Yeah.
Research does show that if you have mentorship, you're more likely to accomplish your professional goals and be successful. It's a huge part. So the research is there. It exists.
Yeah.
And I remember early on in my career, because I didn't learn obviously anything about business, right? I learned about mental health and feelings. And so when I got the sense that I was going to be starting my own business, I connected with a mastermind group. And it was predominantly men, and there were a couple of women, and not to get super stereotypical, but it just happened to be that those were the group dynamics. But the men were just so ruthless in terms of their business and your sales and your numbers. And Amy, you got to stop giving away free therapy. Like, come on, get it together, get those numbers up. And I loved it. And what I look for in mentorship, and I think it's depending on where you are, but being challenged, really remembering that we don't typically grow when we're in our comfort zone. So we've got to be pushed a little bit. And that's where you can really see flourishing. But thank goodness I had some other women in the group that were able to sort of massage the emotional discomfort that I think often comes along with growth.
It's true. Just like my personal trainer, you know, like having a mentor, a personal trainer, you know, like if I work out by myself, I'm going to let it burn a little bit, but not as much as when my personal trainer is there, right? So it's the same principle, right? We will, and every year since I started in the industry, I've hired a mentor, like a coach. I had a mentor for me to be aware of my blind spot, because just like you, Amy, I was not born to be an entrepreneur. I was not. I was educated by two blue-collar parents. My mom was a nurse for 40 years, same hospital. My dad worked for the government. And so it even took them 15 years out of my 16 year to say, finally last year, they say, wow, congratulations, you're doing a great job. I had like, I think you're wasting your talent. You've got to go to a government job and do this and that. And so, you know, that's the thing, the beautiful part that all of us have with being an advisor and an entrepreneur is the growth and getting into that uncomfortable zone, and slowly but surely it gets less and less and less uncomfortable. That to me, yet that uncomfortable zone, you still have to keep on pushing yourself out of that comfort zone all the time. But then the jump doesn't seem as scary as the first time that you step yourself out of that comfort zone. So
yeah, in this industry that we are actually in, which is there are so much excitements in learning, and really sky is the limit in knowledge wise. In whatever you want to do, you can choose different steps and make it as your goal and go for it. It's not scary, and at the same time we can, as you said, we can leverage knowledgeable people going forward and to help us. And together, I'm sure that most of the time together we are more successful than if we keep ourselves alone and just try to do everything by ourselves. Doesn't work sometimes.
Yeah.
I was just going to add in the whole concept that you're the circle of five, and the five people who you are most often surrounded by, you're so likely to be influenced by them and have the same habits and hobbies. And I'm really not a big proponent or advocate of cancel culture. I don't like it, but I do think it's worth it for people to take inventory of their circles and to really ask yourself, do you like the influence? Are you good with it? I know for myself in my personal life, there have been times where I've had to distance myself from friendships if I'm really trying to grow, or if I'm really trying to kind of get to, hit a certain milestone, but I'm surrounded by people that are really complaining and in the weeds, but also not willing to do something about it. I've got to be really mindful of how much of that I consume. I think also, if we're prone to being empaths, you can sometimes pick up that energy and like feel it as though it's your own. So again, don't cancel, but I think sometimes you do want to take inventory of the people that you're surrounded by the most and really ask yourself, is this working for me in a good way?
All right, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Absolutely, yeah.
So if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, but if you teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. To create change or improve on inclusion, I feel that knowledge, confidence, and support is needed. How do you build your team's self-esteem and encourage them to inspire others going forward?
Okay, let me start.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so after being here for 40 years or more, I really find myself, with the questions, why do I still do what I do? And I would always remember, speaking of mentors, my own mentor is Ariel Cantos, and he happens to be the former CEO and president of the insurance company that I work for. And he told me, Kit, there's only one main reason why people join your team. And that is because they're searching for a better life. And you, as a leader, to make this possible, you always have to just come from an authentic and genuine concern for their welfare. He'd always tell me this. So I look at my team now, right? And majority, if not all, are immigrants like myself. 70% are women, highly educated, highly driven, and they left their families back home, their extended families back home, moving to Canada to give their children a better future in a first world country, right? I also came across an article that even says that from Statistics Canada, that Filipino women have the lowest rate of self-employment, 5%. And even having heard of that, I said, I'm just so inspired to beat those odds, right? So in my team, I've really taken it upon myself to build a family within the corporate structure. I always believe in, developing my people inside and out. And I know learning the technical skills, that's easy. But the values, the work ethics, the emotional intelligence, which is so important and as important as technical skills, that's what I focus a lot on. So I have my learning director, Sel Sangalan, who happens to share my values, and she helps me conduct workshops. And one of the workshops that we do a lot is the team building workshop. And this workshop will instill a lot of camaraderie, unity, um, and unity, yeah. And so speaking about mentorship, right? And the mastermind, we have a mastermind group. That's 20% of my team producing 80% of the production, the units, the agency's production. They meet every Monday, to discuss strategies and really they discuss on how they can support each other, fast track their growth. So for me, in my team, it's really the support. It's that feeling of, being being in a part of a family. That is the source of our empowerment. And I really honestly believe, regardless of the color of our skin, our gender, our background, for as long as we continue to empower ourselves, and being with the right people, Amy, being with the right people who make you happy, who make you feel good, I think you will be able to really relay your self-esteem, your confidence to your own family, to your clients, and to everybody you relate to every day of your life.
I like that. Be authentic. But it also adds to the community conversation that we're having there, because it seems like your mastermind group not only supports each other and maybe challenges each other, it seems like there might be a bit of an accountability there
Yes,
to each other, right?
yes,
And
yes.
so do you feel like that's an important part of that?
Yes.
That they hold each other accountable for their growth?
I think I think with my team, it's not, the support is just so strong. And the support is not just from me as a leader, it's the support from each other. And that feeling of accountability is not just for me. It's not, it's because Kit has to know and has to be happy. Well, that's part of it, I know. But it's really being accountable to each other. And every Monday, they check on each other. What have you done in the past week? What are your wins and what are your lows? What are your highs? And it's so nice because they're really like sisters and brothers. I think I can say that, helping each other, being accountable to each other.
Does anyone else have any
Yeah.
experiences on how to coach, how to inspire your team or people around you?
Yeah, for me, it's just inspiring others by who you are and what you're doing for yourself. I think they have to see a role model who's been working hard in different ways, like as a mom or as an advisor, as a member of the society, of the community. And then knowledge, for me, knowledge comes first because it gives us lots of confidence in anything that we want to do. So I have one-on-one meeting with them because in this case, not only we can talk about business, we can a little bit go further and talk about our personal life and challenges and what I think, how I can help as a friend, as a sister, because my group are more, as I said, my agency is mostly female, like 80% female. So we talk heart to heart first, and then see where are the challenges in marketing, connecting with people, knowledge-wise, or how they can work on their schedule, how they can work on their schedule of their life with work or family. So that way, I think I'm thinking that it was successful when we have one-on-one. We get together sometimes, but mostly like we are trying to have fun times to encourage each other. We don't talk about what we are doing. We try to get closer to each other. But the environment is environment of being supportive to each other. And I'm always there as a case consultant and just finding each other's weaknesses a little bit and try to see how we can improve in those areas. That's what I do.
Yeah. Can I add on?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I actually became a certified business coach, not to get paid for it, but so that I could learn how to coach my selected brokers more effectively. And just like Farah, I do coaching, it's not just more about their sales, it's really what's going on inside their mind. And really, I'm so careful, like an advocate of what Amy is promoting about mental health. And I really, when I talk to them, I talk about how I really try to see what's going on inside their head, because I always say your future all depends on what's in between your ears. And that's what we talk a lot about, So it's so important to know each and every one of your brokers in your team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what seems
Yeah.
consistent between the two of you is that you're sharing your time, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
it goes back to mentorship, and it goes back
Yeah.
to, how to get people to that next step, is that it really just takes,
Yeah.
we're using someone's mind and using someone's experience that they've already had, and you're sharing it. And it just makes
Exactly.
them that much further, makes them that much further along on their journey when
Yeah.
you're able to do that.
And I think that working together again makes the other people see their own blind spot, because
Oh
I'm
yeah.
sure I don't have staff myself, right? But like Farah and Kit do. And so because of your experience, you're able to guide the person in front of you to say, have you considered this that way? And, you're probably giving them a lot of breakthroughs through that interaction, mentorship or skill-based education. And also as women, we have a lot of intuition that sometimes we don't really tap into, because we work in a field that's very here, right? And once you connect the two, I think this is our superpower as women, to really like, yes, this adds up here, but does it align here too? Because we can move forward only, in my belief, when the two connects, right? And in business, where you find, like I said before, your authenticity of who you are. I've been told so many times in my journey as a financial advisor that I would never be successful because I was too bubbly, and that I like to dress up in a different way, and I talk with my hands.
What good
And I'm
advice?
loud.
That's terrible.
Which makes you very unique,
Yes.
Not
But that's
everybody
the
is the
thing.
same, and I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like, I only share that because for the longest time, I did not allow myself. I started changing the way that I act, and I started changing the way that I dress, because I was expected to have that black suit and, and not make jokes in the group benefit settings that I actually adore doing. And so I think that once it's just I wish, perhaps, I have no regrets in my life, but I wish that when I was younger, when I started at 26 years old, I would have allowed myself to be led by others, for sure, right? But also tapping into my own persona and allow myself to just be and take in what fits and just
Yeah.
leave the rest.
Yeah.
With
Perfect.
employee, that's what Farah, Amy, I'm not sure if you have employees, Kit, that's what they allow them to be. That's why you pick their brain, to see what's going on here, without wanting to change who they are. They just want to build
Exactly.
with what they currently have.
Exactly.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
Said
good
it.
advice. The thing is that we were all given some little nip, some little bits of advice at the beginning of our career, perhaps, where someone thought they were helping us. And in the realistic part was that, maybe we carried that with us too long. And
For
I think
sure.
that it's okay to take everything in, but it's okay to leave some things behind as well.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's good advice to
Say
give.
thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, thank you. I'm
Thanks.
moving on from that conversation. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think you're too bubbly or nice. You seem engaged and interested. So you can look at it that way as well, right? So that's great. So the first step towards getting somewhere is to decide you're not going to stay where you are. We all got to where we are today by the decisions made. We are a collection of our experiences. Can you share a defining moment in your life that you felt inspired you to make a change or to start over? Where did the inspiration come from? Who wants to start this one? Go ahead, Sarah.
Okay.
Yeah, that aha moment started with me um, when 9/11 happened. So at that time, IBM had 4,500 people. They let them go, and most of them, almost all of them, were so many years with IBM, so experienced and like senior positions. It hit me kind of okay. It didn't happen for us. We survived. We were younger and stayed there. But I thought, there's no trust in the corporate world. You don't know if you're gonna be there forever. So and as I said, as a mom of two boys, I really was looking for some free times for myself, for my family. I didn't want somebody else decide for me, hire me, fire me, give me my schedule. I wanted to do it by myself, and working on financial projects, being familiar with financial industry was appealing to me. So I got to know more about thinking about what else I can do. I cannot survive like this. And 20 years or 15 years from now, they say, okay, Farah, goodbye. And at age, I don't know, 50 something, I have to dress up and go for another interview. This is not me. It's really hit me at that time. So I ended up with searching more and finding about how I can be an advisor. Anyway, it was tough because I had to leave my past, which was good. I was making good money. I had a very nice position, but at the same time, something was taking me to being more free for myself, for my kids, and decide for myself. And in this industry, as I said, the sky is your limit. If you want to go now, knowledge-wise, if you want to learn something, if you want to do something, even if you want to make whatever money that you decide for yourself. So it took me a couple of years. It was hard. But since I joined IDC, which I had a couple of mentors, as you said, it's really changed my life, and I'm so grateful. And I think I'm so blessed that I don't know how I got that courage at that time that I did this, even though it took a couple of years. But that was probably one of the best achievements in my life, that I changed and started this. And the door was open, but I had to learn so many things. It's not easy, but it's doable if you want to. And when you decide to do it, you're going to get there. So that was my story with that aha moment happened, that I made a big change in my life
It's great.
many years ago.
Well, we're happy you made it.
Okay, I'll share mine, but I have to make
Yeah.
it, I think, a little quick because we're kind of running out of time. How much time do
Sure.
we have? Yeah, okay. So for me, I think the defining moment for some will be, it's when they are in the highest of highs, right? But for me, it's not. It's in my lowest moments. It's when I had my breaking point of my life, and that was 6 years ago. I had to make a painful personal decision that affected my business because they were so intertwined, together. My business just suddenly crumbled. What I worked hard for so many years just fell, and I was in a complete loss. I didn't know what to do and where to go. The people I thought would support me just turned their backs on me. So it was a point when I said, I wanted to retire, after so many years in the business, in the financial services. I said, I want to retire. I just want to take care of my grandkids. And my poor girls would tell me, Mom, you're going to die early if you stop working. And they said, you are meant to do something more. And I just want to share with you that evening, I'll never forget, when I was crying in my bedroom, browsing over LinkedIn, praying so hard to let me find somebody who might know me and whom I might know and who will help me get back up. And I will never forget the name Gurbinder Amar. Okay, and he was then a VP from another company then, and And I texted him, I messaged him, I said, Carpenter, do you still remember me? And this man, whom I actually have called my angel since then, sent me a message that was so inspiring, and that the message I needed at that point in time. And he said, Kit, who will not remember you? And it started there. I met up with him, and he introduced me to Jazz Gill, and finally introduced me to Dawn Hart. And yes, I did get back up. But I think what was most important for me was to really find my why, my biggest why. Why would I, start my AGA again? And I think it was really that deep knowing that there are still people out there, immigrants and women like myself, whom I can really help build a career of their own. So this was my defining moment. It's the lowest point of my life because I realized something about myself. I realized that I was stronger than I thought I could ever be. So defining moments to all of us can be our lowest moments, and because it can make us or break us.
Yeah.
And I think for us women, we have to be resilient to really find that strength and power that's really within each of us, right? And I think, again, talking of choice, it's a choice. It's a choice to go over and beyond whatever adversities we face, because really, in truth, we come out as better people, knowing that there's always light at the end of the tunnel.
Exactly. So
That-
beautiful. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a nice experience.
To tap it into that, Kit, like I can relate to her experience because I've experienced something very similar as well, where I had, I've been a real estate investor for many years, built myself up, and through a separation, lost everything. And I even got it tattooed to say, let it go and have faith. So I would remember before I left my partner to just let it fuel me versus destroying me, because I knew that the road would not be easy. Yet, like you said, who said Angel, Kit or Farah?
Kit.
Like Kit,
Yeah.
right? I've had so many Earth Angel as well, where even in a Tim Hortons line, a pure stranger dropped $100 bill in my window before Christmas, where I had prayed the night before to say, I don't even know how I'm going to buy my son a gift. My daughter was 15 months old. I was like, that's okay. She's not going to remember that. But my son would. And I'm like, I don't know how. And out of nowhere. So when we have faith and when we let it go, things just fall into places. And yes, it's a choice. You can either feel defeated or fueled by, like, I made it a mission when I created Money Mama that no other women will feel lonely in rebuilding their financial life. They will feel excited and they will feel empowered because they're not going to feel alone.
I think there's there's a clarity that comes with suffering, right?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
sometimes when you're in your darkest moments that you become the most
Ah,
cleared about what matters in your life. And I know for myself, I've always had some pretty severe health issues and autoimmune diseases and stuff. And so I know it sounds, anyways, I've always had this feeling that I don't know how much time I have. So I really want to make it count. And I remember dropping off my daughters at daycare at some point and thinking, why did I have babies for somebody else to raise? And listen, all of us have to do what we got to do. Thank goodness for daycare. But for me, I just felt in my bones that I would regret it. And so that was sort of my time where I thought, I'm going to bet on myself. I'm going to open up a business, and I know absolutely nothing about business or taxes or finances or anything like that. But again, very much what Kit was saying, I think when you have a very clear why, you will figure out the how.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, sometimes it's not without pain and without suffering that why
yeah.
becomes so crystal clear about what matters in life, and what the rest is just noise.
Absolutely. And, we find so much, when you go through life, like we're older, I mean, right? So we go through life, and then when we're faced with adversity, it's a very different story in our mind now. It's like, okay, this is great. What am I gaining from this? Versus, I always say to my children, even, I put myself 5-minute timer and I feel sorry for myself for 5 minutes. It's okay. It's okay to feel down. It's okay to have those feelings, but it's not okay to stay there. Right? So then when it beeps, I'm like, okay, this is where I pick myself back up. And it's like, again, inspiring, and the clarity, like Amy was mentioning, is and the why, and everything is like, and we don't really get caught up in the how anymore. It's like, you know what? This is my purpose. I've discovered my purpose in the darkness, right? It took me a long time to know my purpose. I just knew that I wanted to help people. And how do you define that in a job description? My poor parents were like, what is she gonna do? That's it. So.
Well, that was great. Thank you so much. We're gonna end this here. I want to thank the panelists for sharing their stories today. Farah, Kit, Amy, Melanie, we appreciate your time. Let this be a reminder that, people have stories to share, experiences that could get you a little bit further. And there's a community out there that you can tap into. Few takeaways. I took that: schedule some time for yourself, give yourself grace. Find a community that supports you, that challenges you.
Yeah.
And, have a great rest of your Thursday. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
so
you.
much.
Bye, everybody.